The storm had already swallowed half the sky when Dr. Hannah McAllister realized she was no longer afraid of thunder, she was afraid of losing the one person she never meant to fall for. The rain pounded against the windows of Willow Creek Animal Clinic in rural Montana, but it was nothing compared to the pounding in her chest as she stood alone in the dim treatment room, staring at the blood-speckled floor that reminded her exactly how fragile a single moment could be. She had dedicated her life to healing broken animals, but no one had warned her that the biggest wound she would face would be the one lodged quietly in her own heart, hidden behind the gentle smile of her assistant, Sarah Whitmore, a woman she was never supposed to love. Before you continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the healing power of unexpected connections, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support truly helps these stories reach more hearts. For years, Hannah had buried herself in work, pouring everything she had into the clinic she inherited from her grandmother. On most days her world was the soft hum of oxygen machines, the sharp scent of antiseptics, and the quiet understanding that animals, unlike people, never asked for anything more than love and care. It was safe, predictable, controlled. After a painful breakup in her late 20s, she had promised herself she would focus on her calling, not on any messy entanglements of the heart. Then Sarah arrived, 5 years younger, bright-eyed, unsure of her future, and carrying the kind of warmth that made everyone else in the room feel a little less alone. She applied for the assistant position with trembling hands and a resume filled with volunteer experiences but no formal veterinary training. Something in her soft voice, something in the way she said she just wanted to help creatures that couldn't speak for themselves, stirred a tenderness in Hannah she hadn't felt in years. Hannah hired her on the spot. At first, the clinic buzzed with its usual rhythm: injured strays needing stitches, farmers bringing in cattle with fevers, families holding shaking pets during vaccinations. But day by day, the rhythm changed. It wasn't the work, it was the way Sarah moved through the clinic with so much gentle purpose that even the most anxious animals relaxed under her touch. Hannah watched her from a distance, always pretending she wasn't watching, pretending she wasn't drawn to the curve of her smile or the way sunlight caught in the loose wisps of her chestnut hair. 4 months, their connection lived in the spaces between words. A shared look over a recovering puppy. A quiet laugh at the end of a long, exhausting shift. The brush of fingertips when passing medical tools. Small things, too small to mean anything, Hannah told herself, even as they started meaning everything. But the heart is not a creature that listens to reason. The turning point came one freezing November morning when a hit-and-run shepherd mix was rushed into the clinic. The dog was barely breathing, and the nearest backup veterinarian was 2 hours away. Hannah knew the responsibility fell entirely on her. Her hands didn't shake during surgery, but her heart did, because standing beside her was Sarah, eyes full of fear and trust, offering strength she didn't even realize she had. They worked in perfect synchrony, as though their souls had been rehearsing for this moment long before they ever met. When the dog stabilized, relief flooded the room like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. And in that fragile, victorious pause, Hannah saw something unmistakable in Sarah's eyes, something that mirrored her own feelings so painfully, so beautifully, that her breath stilled in her chest. She stepped back. She broke the moment. She buried everything again, because loving Sarah wasn't safe. Their tiny town had its whispers, its judgments, its lingering traditions. Hannah knew that risking her heart might also risk the peace she had worked so hard to build, but love, true love, doesn't care about plans. In the weeks that followed, the tension between them grew until it wrapped around the clinic like a living thing. Hannah tried to distract herself with double shifts, late-night paperwork, and endless responsibilities. But Sarah could see through her. She always could point. One evening, after all the animals were fed and the lights were dimmed, Sarah gently touched Hannah's arm, her voice barely above a breath. She didn't ask for explanations. She simply said she missed the way things felt before Hannah started pulling away. The words pierced deeper than Hannah expected. That night, after Sarah left, Hannah stayed late, sitting on the cold linoleum floor, clutching an old clinic blanket around her shoulders, wondering why the world suddenly felt so heavy, so empty. Without Sarah's presence beside her, everything shifted again. The night the storm rolled in, one of those violent Montana storms that felt like the sky was tearing open. A farmer called, frantic, saying his mare was in labor and something was wrong. Hannah and Sarah drove through sheets of rain, skidding through muddy roads, lightning flashing across the plains like veins of fire. Hannah could barely see, but Sarah kept her steady, keeping her voice calm, determined, unshaken. They arrived just in time. The foal was breached. The mare was panicking. The barn lights flickered. Hannah had handled emergencies like this before, but tonight her nerves were stretched thin not because of the horse, but because every moment Sarah was beside her felt dangerously close to the truth she'd been trying to hide. When they finally delivered the full, alive, breathing, trembling on wobbly legs, something broke inside Hannah. The beauty of it, the relief, the shared triumph with Sarah, it was too much. She left the barn, stepping into the roaring wind and rain, letting the storm soak her to the bone because she couldn't bear the storm inside her any longer. But Sarah followed. In the middle of the downpour, with the world crashing around them, Hannah felt arms wrap around her from behind, soft, steady, trembling. Sarah didn't speak. She didn't have to. Her embrace said everything Hannah had been too afraid to admit. Hannah turned, her heart shattering open, and for the first time she didn't run. She let herself feel. She let herself see the love so clear in Sarah's eyes. A love that asked for nothing but honesty. A love that asked her to be brave. They didn't share a dramatic confession. They didn't need to. The truth flowed between them like the rain, gentle, cleansing, undeniable. From that day, their relationship grew quietly but firmly, rooted in trust, patience, and the simple truth that love, when real, does not ask permission to exist. Even in a town where gossip traveled fast, they found unexpected allies among the very clients who brought their pets with trembling hands and broken hearts. People who had seen the kindness Hannah and Sarah poured into every creature that crossed the clinic door. People who recognized love when they saw it, even if unspoken. Still, challenges came. Whispers grew louder. Some clients left. Others questioned. Hannah felt the weight of responsibility pressing on her chest, fearing she had put Sarah in harm's way. Yet Sarah never faltered. She reminded Hannah that love was not something to hide from, but something to protect by living honestly. One afternoon, the same farmer whose mare they had saved returned with a basket of fresh bread and a simple message: anyone who helps life come into this world with that much heart shouldn't have to justify who they love. Tears filled Hannah's eyes. It was the first time she truly understood that courage didn't mean the absence of fear, only the willingness to move forward despite it. Months passed, and the clinic became not just a place of healing for animals, but for the hearts of the two women who ran it. Their love grew in quiet moments: morning coffee shared before appointments, gentle laughter during late-night emergencies, soft touches that carried more meaning than words. They became a team not just in work, but in life, building a future grounded in compassion, determination, and a love that had survived storms both literal and emotional. And in the end, it wasn't the dramatic moments that defined them, it was the small ones. The simple acts of kindness. The silent support. The unspoken understanding that they were stronger together than apart.